Let's talk about Anita's buckwheat flour. So buckwheat, contrary to its name, is not wheat at all. It's a pseudo cereal related to the rhubarb family. So it comes in what's called groats. It's these little triangular shaped seeds that grow on the plants. The buckwheat we use doesn't have the very outer layer of the hull on the seeds, so that's why it's called light buckwheat flour. You can get, if you use the hull, you'll get these big black flecks in the flour, and ours is just a nice light brown flour. That's why it's called light, because we've removed that very outer hull from it. Buckwheat naturally contains no gluten for baking, so when you're using it, it performs quite a lot differently than regular flour. You're just going to want to use it as a substitute for a small portion of the flour, or in other traditional baking such as buckwheat pancakes. We make a buckwheat bread at the bakery where we use 30% buckwheat flour, but what we do first is cook the buckwheat flour into a porridge to gelatinize the starches, and that helps give it a little bit more structure in the bread. But you can substitute it. Say you're making muffins and you want a little bit of that flavor in there. You could maybe switch 10% of the flour. You have to know it's going to be a little bit of a denser product because you're losing the gluten from that portion of the flour. The buckwheat is a great way to add a different dimension of flavor to your baking as well. It's got a flavor that is unlike any other flours that you have. You open the bag and you'll smell it, and it's quite a bit different. It's a fairly pronounced flavor. Good to just mix up the flavors that you're baking with, but it is a little different to use in that it's not a wheat flour, and it doesn't form gluten when you're baking with it.